So, being a teacher myself starting in 1989, I eventually in the mid-90s was able to buy my first house. I paid $147,000 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in Claremont, and I was able to make the payments. I had a roommate, and everything was fine. I looked up that same house that I sold quite a while back, and on Zillow, it now is worth $700,000. There is absolutely no way a starting teacher could afford to buy the same house that I was able to buy when I was a starting teacher. So knowing that we have a housing shortage and that rents have skyrocketed, the average teacher who makes about $60,000 a year cannot afford to live in the city that they teach in. And that's very unfortunate. So what does a teacher do? What we've seen is a teacher shortage. Teachers are leaving the state of California because they can't afford to rent a house. Sometimes rent can take 50 to 60% of their salary, and it forces a teacher to get a second and even a third job in order to make ends meet, or live in conditions that are not good for a teacher, or travel far distances back and forth to and from work. And with gas prices the way they are, that can eat up $500, $600, $700 a month out of their budget. It's not sustainable. So one way to help teachers cope with these skyrocketing rents is districts around the state of California have built affordable housing for the teachers on district-owned land. Surplus land sometimes even actual school sites. What I'm asking this board to do is let's look into ways that we can maybe fund affordable housing units for teachers through various methods. Some are tax credits, some are federal loans, some are regular loans, some are bond monies. And if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Gotho, could you help me out with this? When a bond is passed, can you go through the particulars of a bond measure with me? Like, let's say we use the current bond that's with San Diego Unified. How would that work out?
Well, any district who goes out for a general obligation bond needs to put together the campaign promise and indicate specifically what you are going to do with the money should it pass. So the voters have a clear idea that on the ballot measure it's going to state AC units, plumbing, fencing, safety, whatever the case may be, so the voters know exactly what they are signing on to do if they pay more taxes to support facilities needs at the schools. To include housing that would have to go on the ballot measure and approved by the voters to make that part of the general obligation board bond program. I'm not sure you could add it midstream after something's been passed.
So essentially from what I understand with that explanation is, yes, there are bond monies that have been passed, but those bond monies may have already been slated for projects around the district. So we couldn't use those unless the voters decided to change the obligation of the bond and say we want to use it for affordable housing. However, what we really need to do is we need to look to see how we can support teachers. When I was elected, I said I would support parents, students, I would support administrators and teachers and certificated staff. And I don't want to leave out certificated staff. This measure would also go to our support personnel. That would include all non-certificated personnel, because oftentimes the non-certificated personnel make less than a teacher, and they need just as much help as the teachers do. Knowing what the budget is, we just found out the budget will come out, there is most likely not going to be these substantial raises for teachers. It's unfair that some of the most important people in our society are paid the least amount. It is truly unfair to teachers when you tell a starting teacher you're going to make $50,000 a year. That is not right. So this is one way we can help teachers cope with skyrocketing rents and maybe help them save so that one day they can realize that dream of home ownership that I think everyone should be able to realize. So I open it up to any questions from my board members.
So just a couple of comments, because now this has become very near and dear to me, because my son just was credentialed and just was offered his first job as a science teacher in Palmdale Union School District, which I'm very proud right now, for middle school. And one of the considerations was, I mean, his starting salary, and he's very open about this, but I mean, his starting salary is $50,000 a year and he got a $5,000 signing bonus, and which was awesome. And then he gets some sort of a stipend for being a science teacher. I forgot how much that was, but again, there was no way he could afford to purchase a house down here in San Diego with that kind of a salary. And in fact, doing comparison, talked to a local district here, and his starting salary for a teacher like him to start was $48,000 with no sign-on bonus and no stipend. So I just think, yeah, and the other portion of that is we need to be competitive. I mean, our teachers, I mean, there's teacher shortage, and there's reasons for that, right? Either it's not, the pay is hard. It's not, you have to be passionate about your job, and I'm just trying to articulate this, but I think to attract good talent and good people that want to do something really good for our students, and that's making them our future leaders and workforce, is we need to be in line with that and see what we can do to support these teachers, especially to help get their feet off the ground. And I had a conversation with a school district just as recently as yesterday, where I don't know which school district it was, but they were offering some sort of a $10,000, get you started to help purchase your housing with our district type of thing. So I don't know what we can do, but I think we really do need to do something about this, because again, it's a competitive market out there, and I want to get these good qualified folks working within our schools.
Well, if you think about it, your son's making about $4,800 a month. You're going to take about $800 of those dollars out for taxes. So now you're left with $4,000 a month.
He's
$2,000
figured
is
all
going
of
to go to your rent. So now you have $2,000 to pay for your cell phone, your gas and electricity, your cable. You're going to have to pay your groceries. Maybe you might want to even eat out one night a month. So it's just not enough money. And teacher salaries are not adjusted for these high area housing like San Diego, where it's just not affordable for people who are making good money. You have to make $130,000 a year to qualify for a median price home in San Diego. A teacher will never make $130,000 a year. They'd have to move up all the way up the ranks. I don't even think principals make that. So it's a lot. They need some help. And so we're either going to help them or we're going to watch them leave the state, because that's going to be their only other option. And they're leaving the state. Just Google it. Teacher crisis in California, teachers are leaving the state. And that's unfortunate, because you know who it affects? It affects our students. And we're all here to support students. So there's many things that we can do. And looking at this as one option is something that I think we all really need to take seriously, and we need to put a lot of effort in it, because the teachers are the backbone of the education system, along with that support staff that helps them every day.
Any other comments or thoughts?